Hello everybody, welcome to this third part of the tutorial series for Full Game Kit, Operation Desert Road. Today we're gonna do some interface and menu adjustments to our Voxel Harrier project. So let's take a look. Plenty to do. Let's get going. Alright, one of the first things we need to do is make sure that we can see the interface and the menu again. So we need to go to the game script and enable it because it's probably disabled for the testing we did. So we're gonna enable show menu and show get ready and then run the game and see what happens. Alright, so now we can see the menu again. It still has the old logo, it's the old menu layout. I'm going to set it to a different resolution first, because this is the resolution we'll be using to create the interface. It's 960 by 640, which is a pretty good standard basic interface for creating your interface, and works and can be very easily changed into a more widescreen or a more portrait resolution. I need to stop that first. Okay. So where is my mockup and my menu? So let's open that. Alright, so this is how it looked in the original Space Harrier game, and then I created something using the sprite assets I had that I use in game, but I didn't quite like the look that brought me. I thought it could use a little more definition. And this is a 100% view, so it has a lot of stuff upscaled, but I think we're gonna do that inside Unity. So we're gonna as source materials we're going to use very small files. But it would be nice to chop it up into different elements, and well, you'll see that along the way. So what I did was I exported all these different elements like the logo, and then I saved it to menu logo, and I did that for all the different elements. And now I'm going to bring them into Unity. So hang on, but first I need to copy them to the right directory, so I'll find the right directory first. Alright, here we have it, the sprites directory. Here's where I keep all my 2D stuff, and I'll just dump those exports, those PNGs, I'll just dump them in there. Do I have everything now? I think so. Just copy them in there. Alright, back into Unity. So here's all the new stuff. I have a menu prefix. So now I need to make sure that they can be used as sprites. So I have to adjust some stuff first. I need to define the texture type as sprite. Oh, oops. There you go. And I'm going to set the filter mode to point, because otherwise if you scale it up or use the sprites at a different size, they become very blurry, and we don't want that for this project. So no filtering, and I'm going to set them to true color, so the colors remain nice and true to their original form. So okay, this is all set up, this is okay, and now we can take a look at the interface. So I'm opening up the interface, and you can see all the panels, all the different game screens you can see listed here. And for now we're gonna work on the menu panel, so I'm activating that. Okay, so here you see all the elements we have right now, and we'll be changing and adding some stuff to this screen. So first let's take a look at the background. It's a It's a very small sprite, a white sprite that I colored blue. And of course we're going to use the menu background I just exported. So drag that in there. Let's change it back to white. Alright, and we're going to disable the fading for now. So I'm just going to remove this component so it doesn't fade out. We don't want to see the game behind the logo for this game. It doesn't look that nice. Alright, next up is the logo itself. It has the white flash on top of it, and I think we're gonna remove that. Maybe we'll just remove the whole thing, but first I'm gonna disable it. Alright, the logo, I'll change that to the logo we just exported. There you go. And the reason why it's already scaled up is because the logo I was replacing had a particular width and height. But of course this doesn't match with maybe with the size you want, the exact size you want. So you might want to change the width and the height to be more exact like we created it in Photoshop. Because if this is the original size, like very small, and we want to use that exactly 8 times that width, for if we want it to look exactly like this. So this image, which is, let's see, 58 by 33, needs to be multiplied by 8 to have the correct size, the size that we're really looking for. Of course I could have exported it at full resolution. Could be easier, but takes up a little bit more space. So I thought it would be fun to do it like this and to keep it very small. So in fact, if you want it to be correct, you could, I don't know, use like this, set native size, then it's very small, and multiply it by 8, which would provide an exact good resolution for this sprite. But I'm not that much in favor of doing it like that, because I want to keep the scale 1:1:1 in a 1:1:1 format. So you really need to multiply the width and the height. It's a far neater solution, so I'd always recommend doing that.
So that would be, let's get the calculator out. 8 times 58, oh, that's not correct. 8 times 58 is 464, times 8 times 33, 264.
And this is the exact correct size. So I don't know if I'm going to do it for all the elements. You can do it, of course. I recommend that you do it. Alright. Let's position it a bit higher. I want it to be a bit higher. So let's make it 160. I don't want this logo background, so I'm turning this off. Just want the logo. Hang on. Alright. Okay. Let's add some more elements. So let's just create a new sprite. 2D object sprite. Oh, no, that's not good. That's no good. We need to create UI, an image. The sprite was the old thing. We now want a new image. And we'll set that to the trees first. Hang on. Trees. So, and for ease of use, I'm just going to multiply it by 8. But that's just for now. If you... Oh, that doesn't look that good. Oh, native size first, and then multiply it by 8. Alright. Because sometimes when you use the scaling, it doesn't do much good for your anchoring, and also all sorts of stuff can go wrong. But for now, I just don't care. Just gonna do it like this. Alright, we need a couple of more of these, so I'm going to copy it. Mammoth robot, move them near to each other. Let's get the robot on there. Menu robots, I want that in front of the rest. Set native size, multiply by 8, that's okay. Let's put it around here. Oh, did I really just mix that up? Mammoth. Let's get the mammoth here. Alright, set native size. Okay, looks okay. Alright. That looks okay. Maybe I can fix the anchoring. I want this to be anchored to the right. And I want this to be anchored to the left, which it already is, which is good. I want the logo to be anchored to the top. And I want to move the X-Form logo to a different spot. Let's see, it's called the branding button. I want to move that to, well, not there. I want to move it here, and I think I'll remove the badge that's already there now. So I want to anchor that like that. Alright. So, this is already looking pretty good. However, we need to make sure that it also looks good when you start up the menu. And there's probably some other stuff that we need to fix to make that happen. Alright, let's take a look at what happens when I start up the game. Alright, so we have the logo, we have the background, but the other elements are not appearing. And I know the reason why that is. It is because at the start of the game, all the elements that are children of the menu panel are in fact being hidden. They are being hidden because we want to show them one at a time in a sequence, because that's nice that you see the menu building up, and that's just, it makes it look a bit nicer. Sometimes you just want to activate the panel and activate all the children at the same time and be done with it. For some simple panels, that's we do that in this game, but for the menu it's fun to have some sort of sequence that things are appearing. And since we're not saying that we specifically want to see the trees and the mammoth and the robot, they're not here. So what we can do is that we make them appear inside the menu panel script, and that's what we're going to do right now. So if you're not familiar with the scripting bit, well, then you might run into trouble right here, and hopefully you can follow. Alright, so this is a script. It's not that big for a menu script. In fact what it does, it finds some references here to some of the elements. So we could create references to the elements we just added, the trees, the mammoth and the robot too, which would be the neatest thing to do, I think. For now we could do it differently, or we could just do it on the spot where we need stuff to appear. So here we have the sequence that determines, it's a coroutine that determines when stuff is displayed. So display text logo. So where could we do it? This is the function that's being called if the sequence is skipped. So this might be the good place to do it. So here's the logo is set active, and some other stuff is activated to make sure that when the sequence is done, that everything is in fact active. Also when you might have skipped the sequence. So we could do something right here. We could find the trees and the mammoth and etc. and set active it. So that would be something like transform. We're looking somewhere in the transform find. I think it's just called, I called it trees, right? Dot game object dot set active true. And we'll do that for the mammoth and the robot as well. Let's hope this works. Let's first check if the naming was correct. Trees, mammoth, robot. Yeah. Alright. That looks okay. So alright. There they are. I don't really like the location where they're activated. I think it's a bit too late. So but for now we can leave it there. Well, I could move it to a different part of the sequence, but for now it's fine, I think. Alright, we're already making pretty good progress. For our game we're not going to have any of this. We'll just have the play button. So I'm going to try to remove or hide the buttons. So let's go and try and do that. Here are the buttons. Which ones we don't need. This is one we're not gonna have. Another one we're not gonna have. These we're not gonna have. Don't think we're gonna have a leaderboards button for now. So okay. Oh yeah, I didn't want the badge there, but that works kind of differently, and I'll do that later on when we're working on the branding. So for now I can hide that. In fact, if you leave it on, it will work anyway, because in code there are some fallbacks. Alright, that already looks pretty good. Next step for us would be to do something with the buttons and to take a look at how the navigation works. So okay, we have the menu panel activated so we can see what's going on there. Let's try to find the button, and I think it's probably located here, the menu play button. Suppose we wanted to change the look of the button. We'd want to change how the sprite is appears. So let's take a look at the sprite. It's the button blue sprite. It's located inside a combined sprite sheet. So those of you unfamiliar with how that works, you might want to check a Unity tutorial. But it's a sprite sheet. It's set up as a multiple sprite, sprite mode multiple. And if you look in the sprite editor, you can see everything, all the slicing and all the naming set up. So the easiest way to change something here, instead of creating new buttons on the empty spots we already have there, would be to actually go inside Photoshop and change the appearance of these buttons. So that's what I'll probably be doing. I'm going to open this up. Oh, I want to open it up in Photoshop, of course. So where is it? Button backgrounds. I'm going to drag that to Photoshop, and I prepared something in advance. I made it. It was a very cool adjustment. I'm going to give it the background, and I made the buttons more square. How cool is that? So I know it's pretty lame, but just to show you how that would work. And maybe I could make the colors different, so I could do a small adjustment, a layer adjustment or something like that, to, I don't know, make them more dark. just to make them look a tad different. I'm gonna disable the background and just hit save. Alright, and seeing, well, it looks different. Maybe some other thing you would like to do is to display text instead of an icon. Now using this icon, let's disable it. We're going to enable the text here, and it says play, which is okay. But of course you could do anything you want there. Maybe I want to use a different font. How about that? The project comes with a not a lot font, and maybe you want to change your font because it has a high impact on how your whole game looks. So let's just drag a new font in there. It's called Press Start. It's not free. I'm not sure if it's free, but I'm using it for this tutorial nevertheless. So alright, let's just change the text. There we go. Oh, there's something wrong because it's not appearing, and I have a suspicion of what's going on here. Yeah, the font is probably, it was too big for the size of the text field. So I just needed to scale that down to 16 or 32. 32 might be a good size. Let's just do play. Alright, and let's move it up a bit. This looks pretty okay. So what else can we change? This is the localization. We'll get to that later because the text that is actually displayed here where it says play is gotten dynamically. So I could make it temporary and would just change it back to whatever it says in the localization file. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We have some outlining going on here. I don't know, do we want it for our game? Well, this is more, maybe I like this better without the outlining. Simpler. Could do a gradient, but maybe not for now. I like it like this. It's going to be play, right? Yeah. Play. Alright, so that's already looking pretty different. I thought we might be able to animate it as well. I thought it had an animation segment. Yeah. Tween scale. Alright. Oh, it said the from and the to are the same. It's not good. That's why it's not doing anything. I don't know why I disabled that. How cool is that? It's totally different and already pretty cool. Alright, that's neat. Alright, so next up we'll be looking at some of the other screens in game. And there might be stuff we want to change there as well. So let's open up, let's play the game first and just take a look at stuff we might want to change. So I'm pretty happy with the menu as it is now. I'm not sure if we're gonna keep this help screen. Might be fun just to keep it in. You can change stuff here very easily by changing stuff in the localization. So it's very easy to change stuff, and it's a very simple screen. We might do that later. Then we'll take a look at this. Maybe we might want to change the font here that's used here. Let me just pause it. In the main game panel, we'll probably remove the credits element here, because for our game we won't be collecting any credits or coins or whatever, and we'll change this to a different sprite, like a more, not where we're gonna remove the heart and make it into something different. Alright, let's try the pause screen. No, that's okay, I think, as it is. Then we'll take a look at the completion screen. Alright, it's already pretty cool, but for our game we'll probably won't have any of these medals, so we'll try to disable or remove those, and maybe change the fonts of stuff here as well. Alright, okay, for our game we won't have this screen, so we need to disable this screen or make some sort of skipping. This screen is okay, we might want to change the font. Alright, and then we'll of course have the game over screen. I'm just cheating to game over right now, as you can see. We might want to change this a bit too. So let's get going. Alright, first up is the first thing we mentioned was this screen. What can we change here? Of course we can change this to a different color. Let's find a nice contrasting color with the pink we have on the menu. Alright, nice and orange. Is that okay? Maybe make it... I don't know. Let's just keep it blue. I like the blue. But we need to change the font. So let's change that to this. I don't know, 16 is good. Let's change the font for this as well. There's something you could do in coding to make this easier, to change the font for all the stuff in game, but I'm going to do it like this since we don't have that many screens. Okay. Here, alright. Oh, that's too big. Oh, I'm just spotting that this text is still hard-coded and not gone through the localization yet. Oh, that's bad. Alright. Help. Well, this screen is pretty okay. I like it. Alright. Don't forget to save it. So I pressed Ctrl S, but okay, save scene. I'm doing that all the time. Let's go to the game panel now, which is like the stuff you see inside the game. To disable stuff, and I think I mentioned this before, sometimes it's easier just to disable the text or the image component. Mainly because sometimes these objects are referenced in code, and if you delete them or disable them, you might run into trouble. Just for now I'm just disabling this and see what it brings me. So I disabled the credits for the pickup. I don't know what the pickup is. Oh yeah, that's that stuff. I'm going to... What am I going to do? I'll probably change the font here. There you go. Oh, it's again too big. Change the font again. Alright. Change more font. So I'm just using 16 or 32 for the fonts. For the font sizes. 16. I could select more at the time, more at the same time, and change multiple. Alright, 16. Oh, best fit is on. That's no good. Okay, disable best fit. Hearts. Oh yeah, I want to change the hearts into something else. Alright, so luckily I already created something in advance. So let's open up this folder. And here I have the stuff I wanted to use. Just copy those in there. Alright, make them sprites. There we go. True color. Oh, no, not trilinear. Point filter. Alright, there we go. Change all the empty ones to this one. And change all the full ones to this one. Alright. I think that's pretty much okay for now. As you can see, all the sprites here are already present, so if you want more than 5 lives you have to add more here manually, or you might want to create something in code that instantiates that for you, which would have been a neater solution, but to keep things simple it's done like this. So saving that again, let's move on to the results panel, which is the mission complete panel. So we have, again we have, oh, oops, I dragged something in there. We're disabling that. I think it's not possible just to disable this, and I think we have to do it in code to disable the metals. So let's dive into the results panel script, and I think what we'll do is, again we have a sequence here, is that we're not calling check elements. Where is it called? Yield return check elements, check the metals. We're not doing that. And if I'm not mistaken, it won't show up then. We need to test. Once again, I'm changing the font here. Alright. Bang. Ooh, that's big. Well, I'll leave them. Oh my god. I want the anchoring different. I want the positioning to be, let's just see. I want it to be more in the center of the screen if we're not seeing the metals. Maybe I can just do this. Right. Maybe I'm making it white anyway. Yeah. Alright. Then for the button, continue. Ooh, it might not even fit. That's not nice. Maybe I can make the button a bit wider. It's now 166 wide. Let's make it 200. Yeah, and then I'll... Of course, there's a different way of doing that. You could set it up with more advanced anchoring, that the size of the button is automatically adjusted by the size of the text, but we're not doing that right now. It's too complicated. Alright, this looks pretty okay for now. Let's move on to the game over panel. Alright, for now I don't want all this center stuff, and I think for this I made something. I can just disable all that stuff, I think, so it might not show up. Let's just see if I can just disable this. We'll probably run into some errors, but we'll see that when we get there. Alright, one more thingy to do. Ooh, that's big. That's in your face. Alright, I like it, it's fun. Maybe I need to, I don't like the outline. And I want the shadow to be bigger. I don't know how this is going to look on a small screen. I don't know. We'll just see. I don't want this button here, so I'm removing it, and I want to change the anchoring of this button. I think I want it to be more to the left corner. Alright. Alright. Oh, I almost forgot the play button, which is more like a retry. But it needs to have the correct. There you go. Alright. Let's just save this. Let's save our work and then we'll see how it runs right now. Alright, next up is a little bit about the branding, and with branding I mean the splash screen you see before the game and the in-game buttons and logos that are displayed. Sometimes you want to have your own company logo there, or maybe an external link. So how are we going to do that? Well, you already saw me opening the branding part here. So I don't want the badge. I want to change. The badge was the seal of quality thing. I want to have my own logo. I don't want this one. I want to have a different one for this game. So I already found one on the internet which I liked, and that was this one. So let me just see where it popped up. Here's the one. You don't you want to make it a sprite, of course. Point, true color. Alright, and now we can use it here. Where is it? Where is it? Ah, right here. And we want to use it on other places as well. At splash screen. Splash screen should have a black background, and I think we're gonna need this as well. We're not using a more games button anymore, so we can skip this. All the links are clickable. Sometimes you want to disable that. So if you want to show the logos but you don't want it to be clickable, you should disable that. Advertisements we're not gonna handle in this tutorial. So let's just save this and see what it does. Alright. I think you can click this. Oh, too slow. So now you see all the stuff being updated with the correct logo. And if you set it up properly, you can easily switch between specific brandings, which can be very easy. So I think there's also one on the game over screen. Look. Alright. Well, that's pretty neat. I think that works. So next up is a little bit about localization. I'll just play the game and I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. A localization file is a file that contains all textual content of the game, like this word here, play. It's let's open up the text element. You can see it written down here, but actually it's not. This is not really used. It's gotten from a localization file using this key, play button text. So I can find it. Well, I can show it here first. In a localization folder, English US, when you open that up, you see a play button text key, and it actually uses a string that is put here. So if I wanted to change this, I could like do this and make it say pay, which is of course more, which is better. So when I start it up again, it says pay. Well, that's cool, right? So it might not make sense for just one button, or if you have a game with very little text, but if your game contains a little bit more, then it's pretty easy. If you can do something like this, you can also switch the language that you want to use by typing it in here. You could say English US mobile, which is, yeah, well, it's kind of a hack, but so if I were to open up the mobile one, it could say hey. Alright, so if it works, we should see hey. No. Oh, I know what's going on. I think someone made this not work. I think the language is now set through a user setting or a setting. Oh yeah, there you go. I should have done it over here, and I think this one is obsolete, so we need to remove it. So okay, you can go over here, and you can change it here, which is far cooler, of course, and just say save. Hang on, I don't want to see the splash screen again. So alright, now it says hey. That's cool. There's one more thing I needed to change anyway, and that's this text over here, because it's still the wrong text, and I noticed when I opened up the help panel and I watched the help description text that it doesn't have the xlocalize. Well, it does have the xlocalize. Let's just see. Oh, here it is. So you could change the text here to be more about your game. So you could say, alright, use your Harrier to complete missions to free the world. Well, free the fantasy zone, of course, from evil. Shoot everything that stands in your way. Alright, that still goes. Avoid obstacles like stone heads and mammoths. Alright, watch out for enemy. Watch out for enemy drones. Your Harrier cannot swim. Right, so if I were to restart the game now, I should in fact see the new help description. Yeah, well, there you go. Alright, pretty cool. Alright, so next up we'll be changing some of the music and some of the sound effects, and let's go ahead and do that. So let's open up this folder. The easiest way, of course, is just to overwrite what is there. So I've prepared these sound effects and music here, and we're just gonna overwrite it. I'm gonna rename this to game, and I'm going to rename this to menu. Of course, the file names need to match exactly. And alright, replace. And oh, this is not good, no good. Alright. Yeah, replace. Okay, that should take care of the music. and we have some sound effects here as well that we need to change. I want to change some of the jingles. Jingles are like the sound effects being played like and so the game over jingle, I'm just gonna use the death sound. There you go. There's this one. Ah. Replace. Get ready jingle. I have welcome to the fantasy.
Welcome to the fantasy.
That's cool. So that'll be that one. And what else do we have? The victory jingle. When you challenge complete, is that this one? No, that's not the right one. It's another jingle. Where are you, jingle? Victory jingle. Yeah, I'm gonna use this one. So, alright, there you are. Okay, that should already be pretty cool, and then there's some extra sound effects I'll be implementing later on, I think. Confirm. Replace. Right.
Welcome to the fantasy.
Alright. Well, let's give it a shot. Unity is probably still doing some compressing because it won't come to the front, so need to wait a bit. There he goes. Come on, you can do it. Alright, so let's run it. Oh, forgot to turn on the music. So I'm gonna do that right now. Music. Oh, well, it is turned on. Maybe it wasn't saved. Save. Alright.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
That's already pretty cool. So, alright. So these are the buttons we have now, including the play button. All the buttons and all the navigation, what happens when you press the button is processed inside the main interface script. So the play button you see now, it's called menu play button, can be found in the interface script. All the functionality is handled there. So let's open it up by double clicking. And what I usually do is that I use the search tool, Control F, to find menu play button. And usually it takes me to where all the functionality is handled. So you can see that it's just a big switch that's located here with a function called onButton, and here all the stuff is handled for when you press the menu play button. In fact, all the buttons are listed here, so if it's not listed here, nothing will happen. So if you want to add a button, I'll show you that as well, just very quickly. Alright, let's just maybe maybe just duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D, just to show you that it really does work. Let's go to 2D view. Let's move this button, and I'll just call this button. The name is very important because we're going to use that in the interface script. Menu test button. Alright. So I'll change the text into test. I'm going to disable the localize because I don't want it to say play button. So okay, I don't think there's much else I need to do. If you're used to setting up buttons, you might think, hey, shouldn't I be setting up some sort of event or event trigger or event listener stuff? That's all done dynamically in scripting. So all these panels, when the panels are activated, they are searched for buttons using the setup buttons in hierarchy function, and all the buttons are set up, so you just have to add them in the interface script, and I'll just show you where that's done. So okay, here are all the buttons. I just added the button, so I can just add case menu test button break. So there's a new one, and on this button I'm just going to play a sound. Oh, maybe I'll just also do a flash because I'm not sure if I have the sound muted. Alright, menu test button. Like I said, the name is very important. I can save this so it's compiled. It's now compiling over here. If I'm not mistaken, the button is already showing because the menu buttons are enabled or activated as a group, so I don't have to change anything in scripting, anything else. So I'll just turn this off and save it. Hopefully I can run it. Not sure why it still says pay. Let me just see, maybe. Oh yeah, I know. There's a bug in Xlocalize. I know. There's a bug in Xlocalize that it runs even if it's disabled, so you should really remove the component. So that's it. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for now. In the next video we'll be taking a look at doing some level design work, so we can get rid of all those palm trees and buildings and start implementing our own stuff. So see you there.